As we always do at this time, people, welcome back to another week of Elephant in the Room. This week we are at episode number 18, people. Episode number 18. Today is, of course, Easter. So before we move any further, I want to wish everybody out there a happy Easter. Make sure to enjoy yourselves. If you guys have plans on doing whatever you're doing, make sure you do it with the people that mean most to you, and make sure to be safe, people. You know what I mean? Be safe, because it's just a lot going on out here in the world, and it's not enough explanations to explain it. You know what I mean? You can't even make sense of what's going on out here nowadays. So again, the most important things in life forever, but especially now, with us knowing what we know just about how quick life can go, no matter how old or young you are, make sure to enjoy every possible moment you can with the people that mean the most to you. So again, people, happy Easter, enjoy yourselves, and most importantly, be safe and make it to see tomorrow, make it home tonight. You know what I mean? So as we always do, again, I want to thank everybody for supporting me, who has, and for anybody out here who, this may be your first episode. Welcome. I would like to welcome you to my platform, Elephant in the Room, where we discuss the most talked about topics of the week, the topics that may have gotten the most attention, or just the topics that hit home in a lot of ways, even if it didn't get that much attention. Again, we have somewhat of a packed show, heavy hip hop show, heavy hip hop show today. So we're gonna get right into it. And while we are discussing hip hop, I would also like to tell you guys, my latest project, Gold Tape, is out right now. It is an absolute classic. I'm going to tell you guys that every single week. If you heard it already, I appreciate your support. Listen to it again, and when you're done with that, listen to the other two previous projects, which is Scale Tape was my second solo album, and my first album, This One's For You, Dad, all available on every platform possible, everywhere you can listen to music, everywhere music can be heard or sold. So with that being said, like I said, we have an action-packed show today, heavy hip-hop bass, so we gonna get right into it. One thing that I'm not gonna say it happened this past week, but it happened the previous week, which is the 50 Cent and Ja Rule drama. I totally forgot to touch on it last week, just because it was all new. You know what I mean? It was all new, and everything was going on at the time of my taping last week. So, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. For those of you who, y'all know the backstory about Ja Rule, 50 Cent. Even the most common hip hop fan has heard of that, knows about it, and been around for it. But lately, the latest thing that happened was, Ja Rule was on the Breakfast Club, which is a radio station, very popular, very successful radio station, who has a lot of accolades, and deservingly so. That is a phenomenal show. Ja Rule was on the Breakfast Club promoting, I believe, a liquor he has out. And I don't wanna say the name wrong, so I'm not gonna, tell you the name, because I don't want to be spreading no false information about it. But he was on the Breakfast Club, promoting his liquor, and he is also on tour as well. Ja Rule is also on tour, so that pretty much went hand to hand with what's going on. The reason for him being up there, and while he was up there, they asked him about the 50 Cent reaction to Irv Gotti passing away. Irv Gotti, for those of you who don't know him, and Ja Rule was like this. They were like best friends. They were best friends. They were brothers. You know what I mean? And we all know the famous feud they've had for decades. So when Irv Gotti passed away, I believe he had a stroke or a massive heart attack. 50 Cent had took to Instagram and kind of made fun of his death. You know what I mean? Being very sarcastic and, you know, very insensitive to some people's eyes. You know what I mean? So he had said you know, he had took a picture smoking a hookah, and he was saying, I got that Gotti pack. You know what I mean? And for those of you who don't know, that's what that's basically anybody trying to disrespect a comrade of yours that is no longer with us, that has passed away, got killed, got murdered. They basically say, you know, I'm smoking on your man tonight. You know what I mean? To, you know, to insinuate disrespect. You know what I mean? So 50 Cent had posted a picture with that caption and also said something on along the lines of I'm sad to see him go. I wanted him to see the rest of my TV shows. Like, basically, I wanted him to witness all of the success I'm having. But he was being very sarcastic. And for those of you who know. So they asked Ja Rule about it. And, you know, Ja Rule, just like any brother would do, just like any, you know, person would do who has lost somebody they love, you know, he expressed his frustration with it. He expressed that he wasn't happy with it. He was mad, of course. And he had said he was going to go nuclear. I can give you what I think it means. I think it meant he was, you know, gonna, you know, resort to violence, you know, resort to things to happen, take place in the street. You know what I mean? And, you know, rightfully so. Again, rightfully so. So that's pretty much the backstory to it. And so when he said he was about to go nuclear, 50 Cent responded with, you know, what did he say? He had alluded to him smoking on a herb pack again. And just, you know, just basically saying, go ahead with them empty threats, man. Like, you know, go ahead with that. You know what I mean? So, you know, those are two guys who have been at odds for quite some time. And it wasn't just hip hop. It was also street based as well. So, you know, due to the fact that that happened maybe like a week and a half ago, you know, I'm going to make my reaction to that, you know, rather quickly, but, you know, detailed and very thorough. Like I said, I don't really blame neither one. You know, 50 Cent, for those of you who know, he famously had got shot 9 times. If you let 50 tell it, people that were tied to Ja Rule, Irv Gotti, and that whole side over there was to blame for him getting shot. After he got shot, he then was being blackballed, like, you know, basically kept away from signing a deal. You know, for anybody who remember, back in those days, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, Ja Rule was the hottest thing smoking. You know what I mean? So it was just basically Ja Rule, Irv Gotti. Ja Rule was one of the hottest rappers. Irv Gotti was one of the hottest producers. So it was very simple. You fuck with him, you will never do business with us again. You know what I mean? So that was basically what Irv Gotti and them was, you know, saying to labels. And again, I would say allegedly, but Irv Gotti has countless interviews where he's admitting to doing that. You know what I mean? So for that alone, I understand 50. I understand 50 wholeheartedly, even though there is a classier way to deal with it. You know what I mean? But with all due respect to 50 Cent, 50 Cent not really a classy dude. He not. So like I said, I'm big on, you know, you show me who you is. I'm not going to expect you to be something else or to react a certain way when I expect you to react this way. I don't expect you to react that way. So I understand it. It wasn't surprising but at the same time shocking, because the reaction to 50 Cent hearing the news of Irv Gotti passing, it was so swift and so quick, and it was like right after his death. So, he had took to Instagram and said that, you know what I mean? So I don't blame 50 Cent for, feeling the way he feeling. When somebody trying to take your life, then when they are unsuccessful in doing so, they try to stop you from eating, and for a good while was successful at it. I don't expect for you to have any type of compassion, respect towards that person or them people. I don't expect it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I understand Ja Rule as well. Hearing that, Instagram, especially if you are popular, you lit on Instagram, you gonna say certain things, and it's gonna, everybody gonna hear it, everybody gonna take to it, everybody gonna talk about it. You know what I mean? So, just hearing your man being disrespected in such a, in it being highlighted, that don't feel good to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So as far as him saying he's gonna go nuclear, I don't blame him for that either. You know what I mean? Those guys are from a certain ilk. You know what I mean? And I know 50 Cent crushed Ja Rule. Ja Rule will tell you that himself. He crushed them in terms of the rap battle and the popularity thing. Like, he crushed them. But it's a lot of young people on these platforms right now, both on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. I need y'all to know something. Like, Murder Inc., G Unit was G Unit. G Unit, they were about it. They were crazy talented. And that was a set of gentlemen who wasn't going to let you play with them on any type of level. Murder Inc. was the same way. Murder Inc. was the same exact way. Neither crews are to be sneezed at. Neither crew are to be looked at as soft or joke, or taken for a joke, because both of them crews was really about it. You know what I mean? And they were both really, really successful. You know what I mean? Murder Inc. had ran into a federal case, was a part of a federal case from another gentleman who may or may not have been tied to them. I'm not here to even discuss that, because that is real street business, and business that I don't know nothing about. But that's why their fall from grace was so rapid and like effective. You know what I mean? Because it was the feds involved. So when they get to freezing accounts, when you can't put out music, when your shit go fast when that type of shit happens. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, that happened like a week and a half ago, but I forgot to touch on it last week. So I just touched on it this week very swiftly. I don't blame either gentleman for it, but I will say this. Both of those guys are very important in hip hop. In hip hop, I tell y'all every chance I get how much I love it, how much I am a student of it. Both 50 Cent and Ja Rule are legends. Deservingly so. They are both super talented individuals, and they are both super successful. You know what I mean? So y'all can go the rest of y'all lives without liking each other. You know what I mean? Without ever dealing with each other again. But we need both of y'all here. You know what I mean? Because with the way this world is going right now, especially in the country that we live in, all of the black people need to stick together. All of them. And I say that knowing there's some dudes, you know what I'm saying, that ain't going to get along, that's going to forever be embedded to hating a certain crew or a certain set of men. That's cool, but let's just not fuck with each other. If that's the case, if you feel that way about anybody in this world, let's just not fuck with each other. But as far as like killing and all of that, like it's old, bro. It's old. So many of us are getting locked up. Along with that, so many of us are losing our lives out here, and we losing important people to nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So for 50 Cent and Ja Rule, again, if y'all ever hear this, I'm here to tell y'all, both of y'all is needed. Both of y'all are legends. Me personally, I love Ja Rule. I love Ja Rule. I love 50 Cent. I'm a hip hop historian. Like, I'm a student of the game. So I realize and understand how important those guys are, and I'm not gonna wait until something happens to either one of them, knock on wood, for me to express that. Both of those gentlemen are very important and very much needed in our community, in our culture. So please, man, again, ain't nobody telling y'all gotta make up. Ain't that shit has sailed. But man, don't be trying to do no harm to nobody, because last thing we need is another successful young black individual being locked up or being killed at the expense of some shit they could have avoided. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? To Ja Rule, 50 Cent, and not to put y'all both in the same sentence. I know y'all, both of y'all would be, offended by that. But shouts out to both of you gentlemen, and please continue to be successful and live your life and raise your families, and just, stick to what's important, man. Do what makes sense to you. You know what I mean? But I don't blame either one for how they reacted, how they feel about each other, and their situations that they're going through. While we are on hip hop, couple things, with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne has an album coming out. He announced it Super Bowl Sunday on one of the commercials. His highly anticipated album, Carter 6, which is a series of like albums that he has put out before. He has Carter 1, Carter 2, Carter 3, Carter 4, etc. And Carter 6 is due to come out in June, beginning of June, if my mind serves me correctly. He's doing a promo run. I ain't even gonna say a promo run. He just had an interview with Rolling Stone, but I haven't heard a rapper having an interview with Rolling Stone in a good while. You know what I mean? So the fact that Lil Wayne was being interviewed by Rolling Stone, and it was one of those old school joints, the joints you had to read. It's not even recorded. You know what I mean? It was like, oh wow, they took it back to the essence. But the purpose of him doing that is because of the album that he announced Super Bowl Sunday, due to come out in June. So, naturally so, him being him, Lil Wayne, yeah, I know the questions he gonna ask. They gonna ask. They gonna ask about the Super Bowl. They gonna ask about all it, you know. But the one thing I want to talk about is they asked him about Kendrick's and Drake's beef, rap battle, should I say? So Wayne, I want to say maybe in like January, February, something like that. It maybe had even been a little farther back than that. He was on stage. It was like the weirdest thing. He was on stage and he was singing Not Like Us on stage. But like he was performing what's the song called? Moto. You already know though. And we ballin' every day, every day, every day. That record. So that beat was on, but they not like us. They not like us. And it's the weirdest thing, like, cause it was like knowing how Drake feels about Not Like Us, thinking we know the relationship him and Drake had or have, it was super weird to watch and see, right? So they asked him about it, and the interview was just full of lies. Like, I'm talking about comical shits. Like, this man said out his mouth, I didn't know that was a diss song to Drake. In fact, I didn't even know Kendrick sung the record. They have us to thank for that. You see how comfortable people are lying to your face? And you lying and you don't even, well, in that case, he may have had to lie because it looked and sounded, it looked super weird. And if you want to stay in, if you want things to still be on good terms with you and Drake, you got to say something. But you just had to come up with a better lie than that. You didn't know it was a, say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to Cell Block 1. Let me hear you say OV ho. You didn't know. All right, okay, cool. All right, so that wasn't it though. That wasn't it. But he said, yeah, he didn't know. He didn't know it was a diss on the Drake. He didn't know Kendrick even sung it. He didn't pay any attention to what they had going on, even though he knew like not like us word for word. All right. Then he also went on to say he didn't know Jay-Z and Kanye West had an album together. The interviewer walks in his hotel room and it was like two shirts, two free little dirt shirts on the back of the couch. Like, you know how you about to wear something and you lay it out across the back of the couch so it won't get sat on or won't get wrinkled. He had two free little dirt t-shirts as if he was trying to pick which one to wear, and presented to say he didn't even know Little Durk was locked up. Now, I mean, we know all these are lies, right? We know it. So I don't want to waste too much time on it, but it's like, this is because it is so cool to lie that we don't even have to be creative about the motherfucking lie anymore. We can just, man, like I said, that's, I definitely didn't like it because I'm a guy who pays attention to interviews. I watch interviews and I got a certain select few of people that whenever I do not scroll by an interview of theirs, whenever I see that they are being interviewed, I'm clicking on it. I don't care what platform is on. I don't care who's interviewing them, because the people that are in that selective group of people, they gonna be selective about who they sit down with anyway. So whoever they sit down with, either I'm gonna know them, I'm gonna be a supporter of them, or if I'm already not a supporter of them, or even if I don't know them, I'm gonna get to know them that day because I'm gonna watch the interview. But the purpose of you being interviewed is so people can know you outside of whatever else they know you for. You know what I mean? That's the situation even with me doing Elephant in the Room. Like, if you guys could remember my first project, This One's For You, Dad, I have a series on my YouTube page. I'm doing this same thing right here. Every week, I was going from track 1 to track 12, and I'm explaining to you about every song, how it took place, where was my mindset, what made me talk about this particular topic on this type of beat, what was my mind frame going into the album, how I was feeling, how it came about, even the features. Like, that's what I did. And I did that was 3 years ago. And the purpose of me doing that is so you guys, for people who, are going to support my album and do support me, I want to give y'all a little inside look to me personally and how I think. You know what I mean? Because again, music is You know, it's subjective, but you know, you have to be cool, you have to be tough, you have to be rich, and you have to be a not fuck wittable guy. Like, yo, don't fuck with me. If you do, I got a slew of people who love me and gonna do whatever for me if I give them the word. Like, you just have to have that persona about you. But I'm, it's no secret, I'm, right now I'm local, you know what I mean? So I thought it would be, and it was very successful. Like, I ain't gonna say very successful, but it was like, yo, like it opened other people's eyes up to like, man, like, yo, I had them type of days where I felt like I had writer's block, or you know what I mean, I couldn't come up with a rhyme for to save my life, or it was days where I didn't feel like going to the studio. It was this and that to the third. So it's just basically the point of me bringing this whole thing up is to just tell you the point of an interview, the point of getting in front of this camera and, sharing with you personal experiences and personal opinions is so people can get to know you. So now if I'm gonna sit up here and watch your interview and you gonna lie to me, why am I gonna? And in this case, to go back to Lil Wayne, the topic we were on, you got read it. It's not even a video you can watch. I have to read these lies that I know you telling. And you're telling them for no reason at all. You know what I mean? And that's why like certain artists that has been out for so long, they don't really see like a point of going on a press run, going to radio stations, going to podcasts, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, I've given you guys my whole life. Y'all know everything about me. What am I going to go on these platforms and say and talk about? You know what I mean? And that's valid. You know what I mean? But if that's why certain people or certain ilk, they just drop an album. They don't even get interviewed because you know everything about me already. So Lil Wayne was just, again, man, like just lying through the skin of his teeth. But again, this is how comfortable we made people with lying. Like, you can lie to me in my face and I know you lying. Listen, let me tell you something. We've all lied before. I've lied before. I'm probably gonna lie again. But one thing's for certain. Remember, even back in the day, like, liars had more integrity, right? Because it's like, for instance, right? Like, say I move out of town, right? And now when I move out of town, I get a job, I start working, and I acquire some associates, friends even, right? And I want to tell the friends that I have, say I move to Milwaukee or somewhere like that, and I want to tell these dudes like, yo, yeah, I used to be that dude. You know what I mean? I used to have my town on lock. I used to be getting money, having all the bricks, the pounds of weed, and man, everybody knew not to fuck with me because I had them killers on speed dial. Right? So now I'm out here, I'm telling them this story, this fairy tale of my life, which never fucking happened, right? And my man want to come see me. My homie, Legend, he want to come see me. Now, Legend know me in and out. He know everything about me, right? So now, when I agree to my man, Legend, all right, come up this weekend. I'm off this weekend. Yeah, we could do this. This person coming in town. We could go here. We could go there. When I make plans to have my man come see me, I'm going to make sure that my homie from home that knows everything about me, I'm going to see to it he don't ever meet the friends that I done told this bullshit ass story to. Because in this case, with this example I'm giving with Legend, he gonna look at me like, what? You used to do what? Man, I know you ain't down here telling these people this. Like, he gonna put me in my place. So I'm going to see to it, whatever weekend he comes down, I'm going to make sure he don't meet these set of people, these set of friends that I have down here that I done told this story to. Why? Because I know my man know the truth about me, and he can possibly blow me in with my friends that I had down here that I done spent a year convincing I was a cold-blooded hustler and killer, right? Just so they can look at me away, right? But nowadays, a motherfucker lie to you and they know they lying. And guess what? If you call them out on the lie, you a hater. You hating. You hating. So it's like, I don't know when the world became that comfortable with letting people lie to them in their face. But that's basically what you got out of this Lil Wayne interview. It was just a bunch of lies. It was almost like, again, it wasn't video, so I can't say he looked away or his body language was speaking this. He didn't want to be there, this and that to the third. But you could just tell by reading this, he was just saying anything. And like real Wayne fans, like I'm a real Wayne fan. I love Wayne. But it is this elephant in the room, bro. Like, you just lying. And, you know, real Wayne fans is like saying, oh, this could have been one of his episodes where he may have been high, this and that. No, he was lying. He was lying. I've been around high people all of my life, and they know if they telling you some real shit, and they know if they telling you some bullshit. If they are alert enough to have a progressive conversation with you, they know when they lying and when they telling the truth. Even if he was high, you still lying. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, they have us to thank for that, because nowadays it was even people on IG. Like, I was going back and forth with this person on IG. It was like, this dude, he was like, man, you know, Wayne be sowing his own world, man. You know, he been rich all his life. You know, he don't know what's going on out here. I said, wait a minute. So you believe the shit that he's saying? You believe that? It's just different, bro. It's just different. So that's why I say that's even more of a reason. Like, yo, bro, a person can get out here and say anything to you now, and somebody in this world is going to believe it. You know what I mean? And that's all they need, is for somebody to buy the bullshit that they trying to sell. But, you know, Wayne, who I love, me personally, that is the second greatest rapper of all time in my book. That's a discussion for another day, for another time. But yes, we all know who my number one is, Jay-Z. But the second greatest rapper of all time in my book is Lil Wayne. That goes to show you how high I have him, how high I think of him. And he was in that interview lying his ass off. The last thing that I ain't gonna say the last thing that they talked about, but the last thing, like the one other thing that really stuck out with me with that interview was he was talking about the Super Bowl snub. And he was just basically saying, he was like, you know, he was led to believe he was the guy because of, you know, like they basically was like prepping him, like telling him like, hey, you want to be more visual this year, you know, the Super Bowl in New Orleans next year. So all the way up until the announcement, you know, you want to be more visual. You know what I mean? You want to go on this show. You want to do this. You want to stay away from that. Just to like align himself up to be able to be, you know, a Super Bowl performer. So, you know, for that reason, I'm guessing that's the reason why he felt like he was snubbed. Which, again, I understand. You know what I mean? I understand you feeling snubbed. I understand it. You know what I mean? But crying about it the way you were, it's not manlike. It's not. It makes you, with respect to all my ladies out there, it makes you like a female. Like like you have female tendencies. Don't cry over something that you weren't owed. You don't really supposed to cry over nothing. And I'm not talking about literally. Like, your son graduate from college, your daughter gets married. Yeah, you're going to cry. You know what I mean? But, or something traumatic happens in your life. I don't even want to put that in the world, but we all know what I'm talking about. You lose someone or something like that. Yeah, you're going to cry. Yes, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like just crying as if you're owed something, as if, the world did you wrong and, why me type of thing. Like, listen, man, hate is a strong word, right? But I hate entitled adults. I really hate it. I really hate it. But it's one thing if you have a reason to feel entitled. That's one thing. Like, if you let your man borrow $1,000 6 months ago and now you need 500, you gonna kind of feel away if he tells you he don't got it. And that I understand, because it's like, yo, bro, I let you borrow, even though he don't owe you. Then you did that out of your own kindness, of your own heart. So, but he don't, just because you did that for him, that don't mean he deserves to look out for you. But that's just something you would expect for a decent motherfucker to do. And you would be right. You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing if you have reason to feel entitled, but it's a whole nother thing when it's just like you have no reason to feel that way. And I understand Wayne when he says, he was led to believe that. You know what I mean? But again, I could understand you feeling snubbed. But to walk around this joint, to walk around this thing as if someone did you wrong, you know what I mean? That's like femaly. Like, it's like, yo, bruh, pucker up, nigga. Like, I'm sorry, excuse my language. But yeah, just come on, man, stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, but I hate entitled adults, especially the ones who don't have no reason to expect the things they're expecting from you. So like I said, Wayne, he pretty much entailed, that he's moving forward from it. You know what I mean? It happened. It's over with. He called Kendrick to, wish him the best and things of that nature. So, and in fairness to Wayne, the only reason why he's talking about it is because they asked him about it. So, just because of my high regard for Wayne, I'm gonna believe him when he says he's moving on from it. You know what I mean? I am. But like that whole victimized thing, like you feeling like you've been done wrong. Come on, man. Man up, bro. Man up. Don't nobody in this world owe you nothing. Don't nobody in this world owe you a damn thing. But he talked about a lot in that interview, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read the whole thing, because after them lies he told, I couldn't get past it. And like I told you the reason for me tuning into interviews, because I want to get to know you, the person. I want your genuine thoughts, opinions, and observations on certain things. And when you're showing me when some of the headlines in these interviews, in this interview, is you lying, there's no need for me to even stick around for the rest of that shit, because you could be lying in the rest of the interview. You know what I mean? So, but go check it out. Lil Wayne, I'm still a fan of you, bro. I still love you, but you was lying your ass off in that interview. So I'm looking forward to the Carter 6. For those of you who's not familiar with this interview, but would like to read it, It's with Rolling Stone. So, go check it out if you haven't already, if you didn't get a chance to check it out. But yeah, it was a couple lies that was told in there, like obvious joints. Like, come on, bro, you got to be more creative with your lie. You know what I mean? So, and we have it, with that. Staying on, switching topics real quick from hip hop to sports. Deion Sanders retired his son's jersey, Shedeur Sanders, and Travis Hunter's jersey, which is number 2. Shedeur Sanders, which is his son, his youngest son, he wore number 2. He's entering, he will be drafted this week. And Travis Hunter, who is a generational talent, his number was also retired. He wore number 12 for the Colorado Buffaloes. He caught a lot of flack for... I ain't even going to say a lot of flack. I'm just going to say he got a lot of attention from it because it's mixed opinions, it's mixed views on it. They didn't do anything, and I'm saying this genuinely. I'm not trying to like rain on their parade or nothing, but they didn't do anything retiree worthy. They didn't. Travis Hunter, I more so understand because due to generational talent on both sides of the ball. He is the recent Heisman Trophy winner. That is the highest award you can win in college football. That's equivalent to the MVP in the NFL, NBA, whatever. The Cy Young Award in baseball, all of that. So it's equivalent to all of that. So he's really a generational talent. Like, he really is. So I understand them retiring his jersey. But Shedeur Sanders, we all know what that is. Deion, somebody who I love. I have multiple kicks of yours in my repertoire. You are somebody that I've supported my entire life, wanted to be like, wanted to play like, wanted to talk like, dress like, all of that, Prime. So I say this with all due respect. I agree. Like, your son, who he's not the worst in the world, but he's not the best either. He retired his son's jersey because it's his son. It's his son. They did make Colorado much more popular than it has ever been. Well, I ain't gonna say ever, because Cordell Stewart had it popping out there in Colorado. So that was a football player. He was playing punt, pass, and kick out here in his day. He was playing quarterback. He was kicking field goals. I think he returned a punt or two, played receiver. Like, he did it all. You know what I mean? So, and his jersey is not even retired. But, it might have been some politics out there that none of us know about. But he did. Deion Sanders took the initiative to retire his son's jersey, and that was the one I don't understand, because he didn't do anything special at that school on the field. He didn't. You know what I mean? And if you paid attention to my speech just now, I went from saying Shedeur Sanders will be drafted Thursday to he will be drafted this week. Because I do not think he will be a first-round pick. I don't. And again, I'm open to being wrong. I could be wrong. I lose nothing if I'm wrong, guys. It's just my opinion. You know what I mean? And I'm saying it respectfully. You know what I mean? He is talented. He is NFL worthy. But I don't think somebody is going to, I'm not going to say waste, but use a first-round pick on him. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that he can't be the greatest in the world. It's not to say that. Tom Brady was a 7th-round pick. You know what I mean? So, being picked, it's easy for me to say it don't matter where you're picked, but it's money involved in that. It's a big difference from being picked in the 1st round to being picked in the 3rd and 4th round. It's a big difference from the 1st and the 2nd. just not a big difference. But if you are projected to be a number one pick and now you done dropped to the third and fourth round, it's a pretty big difference in money. You know what I mean? So all luck to both of those young men, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, who will be drafted at some point in the NFL draft. And I hope you guys have a lengthy, successful career in the league. I'm excited to watch both of them play, but Deion, the people who don't understand where he come from with that, it's his son. It's his son, and if anybody out here questioning that, I can understand it because he didn't do anything special. You know what I mean? And I know, it's the same thing like LeBron's son. Like, oh man, they wasted a pick on him. Well, I mean, he was the 55th pick. You know what I mean? In the second round of the NBA draft, Bronny James. Most second round picks don't pan out anyway. They hardly even play. So, just them talking about him, and aside from talking about his game, they were also talking about LeBron personally. So that was a little different. But with Deion, like I said, it's just mixed reviews. It's people that's super supporting it. It's people that's super against it. So I'm on the side of, I'm not super against it at all, but I can understand why that's some bullshit, Deion. That's some bullshit. You know what I mean? Shedeur Sanders didn't do anything special to be worthy of his jersey retirement. Like, he didn't do anything special. He just didn't. But that don't say he's not going to do anything special in the league. If I had to get my opinion on it, I do not believe he will be a starter in the league. I believe he will be a career backup, a solid one. I just don't think he's talented enough to maintain a starting job for a long period of time. I don't. And like I said, Deion himself has put his family in a position to where they don't really want for nothing. And what that has to do with this is something about a boy hungry, like a Cam Ward. I believe he's going to be solid. I don't even think he's going to be all that. But it's something about that type of hunger versus Shedeur Sanders, who already has everything you can ask for and has always had it. You know what I mean? It was the year Josh Allen got drafted. It was another Josh in that same draft, Josh Rosen. And one of the knocks on him was, along with him being an older quarterback, he also came from money. So he was already rich. He was already wealthy. He came from a wealthy family. So that hunger is not going to be the same as a Lamar Jackson or a Baker Mayfield, or not even a Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield family might have been well off too, but a Josh Allen or a Sam Darnold, or you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. So that is something to look at, because it's like, you want to be in love with the game. And I don't doubt Shedeur Sanders' love for the game at all. It's just that hunger is different. Even, you know what I mean, like with music, like it's a difference from, that first Meek Mill intro and how he's rapping now. It's a big difference. And he can't do nothing about it because he got super successful. It's a difference from that, from that Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt to Black Album. Like, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. The hunger is different. You know what I mean? The hunger is different. So, like I said, shouts out to both of them gentlemen. Best of luck Thursday and beyond. NFL draft comes on this Thursday. Quick side note as well, my Lakers. Never thought I would ever say my Lakers, but I'm a LeBron James fan, so I'm a fan of his wherever he goes. But my team is the Knicks. But still in all, LeBron, you know, is my favorite guy. You know, we just recently got our ass kicked last night. Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards and them boys played magnificent. You know, shot over 50% from three. And just they balled out. So anybody shooting like that, you're gonna have a tough time winning. I don't care who you are. But game 2 comes on tomorrow, Monday. Looking forward to watching that game and seeing y'all then, Minnesota fans. Something else that you know, sports related. While we're on that, DeMar DeRozan got into a scuffle in a restaurant because like this fan, yo man, people out of pocket. Okay, so this fan, he had the phone like this, like, you know, so he walking. So I'm guessing they kicking him out of the restaurant. So he walks up to DeMar DeRozan's table. I don't know who DeMar DeRozan's with. He walks up to his table and like he puts his phone like right here. Like DeMar DeRozan looking at his phone, and then all you see is the fan phone come this close. How close I am to my camera, that's how close he put it. So he like, yo, man, get that camera out my with the flash on it and all that. Like, yo, DeRozan, they trying to kick me out. So DeMar DeRozan first thing is, yo, don't put no phone in my face. Don't put no camera in my face. You know what I mean? And they started tussling from that. And I'm guessing dude is gonna try to sue. To factually speak, he didn't sue. There's no signs of him suing yet, but I do think he's going to end up suing because his phone fell, and by the time he picked it back up, he was in the damn ambulance. So just clown shit, stupid shit, somebody trying to go viral, somebody trying to get some attention for having whatever type of engagement with an athlete. But, you know, this is why celebrities are so weird. This is why we perceive them as to be assholes or this and that to the third. And, you know, we want to clown them for having security and, you know, feeling like they're untouchable and this and that to the third. It's like, yo, you protecting yourself away from things like that. Now, DeMar DeRozan instant response was to just like, yo, smack the phone down. You know what I mean? Defend himself, whatever he did. The camera angle, it was 2 different camera angles. In either camera angle, the one camera angle, dude was already on the ground. You know, they was tussling. And then the original camera angle, which was the version I'm talking about, once the phone fell, you just heard a lot of, I need my phone. You don't know what's going on. So, but it's like, you know, you protecting yourself away from things like that. Because you don't, like, how is somebody feeling that comfortable that they can even approach me like that? And then dude at dinner, ain't no telling what type of day he's having, ain't no telling what type, like, there's no telling none of that shit, bruh. There's no telling about that shit, bruh. So that's why it's like, man, like, you just don't know, like, why do you feel like you can invade somebody's space like that? That was like disgusting to see. Like, it was very disgusting to see. And, you know, it's just the world we live in. But for everybody out there who may have ran into a celebrity or two and they wasn't as jolly as you thought they would be or should be or could have been, it's shit like that is why. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, everybody here know me. And I don't know none of you. You ever been at a, you know, out grocery store, mall, restaurant, and somebody walk by you like, hey, what's going on, Thunderbird? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? And you don't have a clue who that is? That alone is uncomfortable. Coming from the walk I come from, that's like your antennas up now. Like, yo, who is that? I don't know who that is, man. Let me get up out of here. You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of vibe. That's one person. Imagine wherever you go, hundreds of people know who you are. And you don't know not one. You don't know if this dude was the dude who said, fuck your dead mother. You don't know if this dude was one of the dudes who really, truly, genuinely love you. You don't know. And you don't even have the time to even, you know, notice the difference. Like you don't even have the time to even be able to judge what type of fan they are. You know what I mean? It's this one clip with Samuel L. Jackson. It was just recently, you know, it looked like he was outside of some event, and this dude walked up with his phone like, Samuel L. Jackson, I love you, man. I love you. And Samuel L. Jackson, he on his phone, so he got on his phone. He like, man, I don't believe that shit. And kept being on his phone. So it's like, I get it. I get it, bro. I get it. I understand the paranoia of celebrities and, you know, things of that nature, because you gotta be, especially with everything that's happening in this world to people, famous people. You know what I mean? And people are more interested in like being engaged with a celebrity. It don't matter if it's positive or negative. They more interested in that than actual money. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just the way the world is just really, really fucked up. The last thing we're gonna touch on is Kevin Gates. I think he was on a live, and he was talking about he wouldn't trade places with LeBron James because he don't like the way his wife looks at him. Kevin Gates is somebody else who will not get no airplay on this platform. Dude is a complete clown to me. Complete clown to me. I know a lot of people like him, this and that. Dude is a complete clown. Let me make my stance very clear. He is a complete clown to me. Long before this statement. But again, I'm just reporting on it because it's the latest thing talked about in this past week. I don't know what transpired in his life to where he thought that was important for us to know. But again, he was on live. Maybe somebody asked him, would you trade places with LeBron? Maybe somebody, I don't know. But I'm not sure why he felt that was important to know. No one cares who you would or wouldn't trade places with. And you see how comfortable people are speaking on people's marriages, speaking on people's significant others, kids, business ventures, and that's just the lack of, certain people don't know how it feels to get punched in the mouth. Like certain things you just shouldn't speak on. My wife is one of them. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I don't know. But again, that version of a man is just somebody who shouldn't get any type of airplay or action, you know, in this space. You know, he shouldn't get talked about. I do believe he set that for attention 110%. This the same dude out here drinking people's piss and listen, man. Listen. Mind your business, bro. Mind your business. Go and get your life somewhere. But this whole era of like just speaking on shit you ain't got no business speaking on, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. And when that happens, we're not gonna be victim. we're not gonna be no victim here. You know why this is happening. So just take what come with it. Again, the absence of consequence is like hella noticeable nowadays in this world. So, you know, again, I don't really have a deep dive on that. Again, nobody gives a shit. Kevin Gates, who you would or wouldn't switch places with. Shit not important, bro. And keep people wise out your name, out your mouth. Keep that shit out your mouth. I mean, but you know, I hate to end it on that note, but you know, that just wasn't cool. And like I said, you know, just seeing men being gossipy and, you know, conducting themselves in any other way aside from being a man with integrity, dignity, and a code of respect and honor and a code of ethics. Yeah, that should always that should make me itch. That shit make me itch. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Elephant in the Room, episode number 18. I want to thank everybody who has stuck with me for this entire hour, people. Again, have a happy and safe Easter. Please, whatever y'all gonna do it with people that you love, people that mean the world to you, and people that you feel safe with. You know, I didn't want to start the show off like this, but recently lost you know, a really, you know, good dude in my life by the name of DeVale. Tragic. He got killed on Friday night, and you know, murdered. You know, real good dude of mine from, you know, we from the same neighborhood. You know, real chill, super cool dude. You know, all prayers to you and your family, bro. I didn't want to start this episode off with death because I did it the last episode, and just, you know, just didn't feel like starting off on that page. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I didn't want to let this episode go without giving my man his proper respect. And you know, if he was still with us, you know what I mean, he was one who supported me in everything I had going on always. You know what I mean? So, you know, love you, bro. Somebody that's going to be very, very missed. You're going to be missed greatly. Condolences to you, your family, everything, man. And again, man, let's just stop the dumb shit. Focus on getting money, taking care of our family, and putting our kids in a better position than we were ever in. You know, so, you know, with that being said, that's going to wrap up this episode of Elephant in the Room, episode 18. Again, people, stay safe, have a happy Easter, and do what makes sense to you. All right, signing out, people. Till next week.